Welcome back to Around the Clock. I'm your host, Yolanda Greaves, and I have my co-host today is Erin Williams from the school committee.
Thanks for having me again.
Thank you for coming. Now, this is Erin's first time on the Round the Clock. You may have seen her on Erin and Anthony, which is a show that she has been doing here at WACA-TV. You might have also seen her at the override study committees that have been going on. But because this is Erin's first time on Around the Clock, we're going to do a nice interview with her so you can get to know her if by chance you don't know who she is. So Erin, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So thank you again for having me. I grew up here my whole life. My parents adopted me when I was 3 weeks old. And, oh shoot, there goes my...
You won't be able to use that for something people don't know.
I can't use that for your last question. I've since 3 weeks old, I have called Ashland home, except for, I did 4 years at Holy Cross and 2 years after college when we were first married, lived in the South working. But Ashland's been home the whole time. Ashland High School graduate, class of '99, go Blue Tide Pride. And yeah, so I'm a finance manager by trade during the day. But I think my most important job that I have is mom. And
how many children?
I have two. So Chase is 7, and he's in 1st grade, and Griff is 2.5. And he's for sale if anybody wants him.
Yeah, we don't sell children on this show.
Okay. 2.5's it's a doozy of an age. But
I tell people, I tell parents, because my girls are older, it's the testing twos and the trying twos. Yeah. People try to put a negative term, just testing and trying.
I actually read that the other day, try not to call it terrible, and I say, yeah, that's nice. And I even said that to Phil last night. I was like, he's testing. But yeah, if anybody wants to babysit, feel free. So I have the 2 boys. I have some chickens running in my yard. We free-range some chickens for eggs. We have a chocolate lab, and Phil and I have been married. It'll be 11 years tomorrow.
Congratulations. Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So what made you decide to step up and be on the school committee?
Well, this spring, with the budget season and with Phil running for selectman, I got very involved in the Chapter 70 calculation and understanding that kind of inside and out to the point where I could teach it to other people and, taught to Michael Herbert and talked to Steve about it, had Steve at my house one night, and so then became part of this group that went in and spoke with Karen Spilka, Tom Sanacandro's office, and Richard Hatch, who's a part of the DOE. Right. And that was kind of dabbling in my involvement, and I like politics. I like being active in the community. It's kind of my thing. I know some people like Desperate Housewives, this is my thing. I like it. So
it's a good positive thing for the town.
It is, and I would say that Philip and my involvement in the town has connected us with some wonderful people, yourself included. Now to call you a friend is really wonderful. So just knowing that I could contribute to the town, contribute to the schools. A lot of the time when we talk to our older son about what his father does for work, or when we leave at night to go to meetings, honey, we're trying to make your town or your school better, or, right. Chase thinks his dad is saving the whales. Well, yeah. In some small way, or not the whales, the polar bears are not going to lose their ice because of what he's doing.
So just in case people don't know, Philip is our energy manager here in town, and doing different things on our Green Communities grant. He's working on our solar project.
Yeah, the Big Amoresco project.
The Big Amoresco project.
Lots of different ways to save money. And I actually called him out on Facebook yesterday where, the school folder came home with 12 sheets of paper in it. And I did the math of what one does that cost per day?
Right.
And then how many trees were cut to service 13 grades in Ashland, and how many tons of CO2 did we emit by printing all of that? Right. And we emitted 3/4 of a ton of CO2 just in one day yesterday.
Which is actually interesting because a lot of it they're starting to send home via email.
I think the older grades, but so much of things that I think at the younger grades, and Jim has talked about this, there's parents that are hard to connect with. Okay. And so we haven't been able to transition But it's something I kind of called Phil out on yesterday, and I said, hey, the bat signal went up, and your help is needed, so hopefully we can figure that out. But it's fun as a family. Like I said, we're both nerds. Like, we're kind of perfect match for each other. So, like, when we are home and the kids are asleep, we're talking about, like, oh, did you watch the planning board meeting? Like, nobody else does that, but we do.
Well, it means that you're concerned about Ashland and having it been your home. Basically, you've born and raised here.
Yeah,
so,
my dad still lives here. My dad lives a mile from us. So it's really, and my dad's really active, and it's nice.
Right.
Like, he's been active at his church. He's very active at the senior center. He does the bowling. He's always at the senior lunch on Mondays. Like, you know, if I ever need to find him, I look on my phone, where's Dad? Like, half the time he's at the senior center. Right. So. And I shouldn't call it the senior center, it's the community center.
Well, it depends on who you're talking to.
Yes.
If you're talking to seniors, it's the senior center. If you're talking to younger families or younger people, it's the community center. The important thing, though, is it's a great asset here in Ashland. It services so many different people, and there's so much great stuff going on.
It is, and Chase did ARC camp this summer.
Oh, nice.
And loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah, they do a great, Kelly runs a great program.
She does, yep.
Good. So any particular, now that you've been on school committee for a little while, any particular goals or things that you would like to see accomplished?
So one of them is related to what I was talking about, is the use of technology to make things easier for the schools to manage goals or to better the, just the interaction. So with paper. Look, there are programs and software packages that you can buy that make everything online. And I know some teachers are using Google Classroom.
Right.
And investigating what is the right thing for Ashland. And, you know, and it's fun because then I get to work with my husband because it is an energy efficiency improvement or a sustainability measure. But then it's also me as a school committee member. So there's that we want to look into. I would love it if we could look into GPS software for the buses. And that's so parents can see where the bus is, because there were times last year, like yesterday, when the buses were late and stuck, you're worried. It's the first day of school, and, you know, where's your kid? There's lots and lots of towns.
Or in the morning, where's the bus?
So I don't
have my child going to get to school, right?
Yes, yeah. I mean, luckily I can listen and I can hear the bus back up from my front when the leaves have fallen. I can hear it at my house.
Okay.
But you know that it is a modern convenience. But the added benefit for that is you see when they're idling, and that's one of the things that Phil wants to tackle is idling because of the gas spend, and also driving behaviors. So that the bus company can monitor the drivers and make sure, like, acceleration and hard braking, those sort of things.
Right.
So those are two sort of, like, I would say special projects.
Okay.
I really, as far as my value system, you know, having gone to Ashland High School and seeing what was available then and what's available now, I'm pretty sad. And so fighting for the, like, when I was there was an accounting teacher, there was an architecture teacher, our art program was stronger. So, and I understand that we're trying to meet this common core objective. We have to meet testing standards and we have to provide the basics. But I think we've degraded the whole child experience in Ashland to the point where, you know, we do have some mental health issues in our school systems.
We've heard that before.
And that is a big concern for me. You know, I was the type of kid where I put pressure on myself. And it's not always going to be the teachers, and sometimes it's the parents, and sometimes it's that kid wants to be an achiever. But making sure that that's balanced with enough downtime, like mindfulness exercises. They're bringing, and you know, whether it's yoga, some people are like, oh, I don't want my kid doing yoga. Like, it's mindfulness, it's being present. So working that into the classroom, mindfulness exercises, breaks, letting kids know that they don't have to have a 4.0 or a 4.5 GPA to be a good person.
Right.
And so I think our goals as a community, or as a school committee and a community, are going to reflect more of that sort of thinking rather than everyone has to be high achieving. So I'm excited for that.
Good. Well, it sounds like you have some great goals and some great things that you want to accomplish. Before we finish the interview, and you're not getting to leave yet because we have some more things to do on the show, but before we finish this part of the show, I get to ask you the question. And unfortunately, you sort of know what it is. It is there something about you, Erin Williams, that one, you don't think a lot of people know that you are then willing to share on camera?
All right. I was the 1993, I think, state champion for level 7 figure skating.
Oh, wow.
I think. I'm like
somewhere in those dates.
Years, levels, somewhere in there, yeah. Yeah, there's 2 divisions of figure skating in the United States. USFSA is like what you see on TV. And I also competed. That was mostly what I competed, but they have a smaller group, ISAA, and I was the champion for New England.
Wow.
And then got to skate in the exhibition at the Bay State Games. And
cool.
yeah, so I grew up skating with like Nancy Kerrigan and Paul Wiley, and they were my idols.
Wow.
When I was a little kid. Yeah.
Well, congratulations for
Thanks.
that, and thank you for sharing it. Well, that's this section of Around the Clock. Stay with us, and we'll be back with more.
It's back to school time, which means yellow buses are on the roads. School buses are the safest form of transportation on the road today, but it's crucial that we stay alert as students prepare to board. Despite their size and bright color, school buses are often overlooked by distracted drivers who don't notice the bus lights until it's too late. Here are some tips from the National Safety Council and First Student to ensure back-to-school time is safe for students and drivers alike. School buses use yellow flashing lights to alert motorists that they are preparing to stop. Slow down immediately. Bus drivers use red flashing lights and an extended stop sign to signal motorists that the bus has stopped and that children are getting on or off of the bus. Be aware, children may be crossing the street. You are required by law to stop on both sides of the street when these red lights are lit, whether you are on a city street or an undivided highway. Make sure to stop far enough away from the bus to allow children to safely enter and exit. Do not attempt to pass a stopped school bus that is loading or unloading children at any time, including at their school. Watch for school buses. Be aware, be alert, and be safe this school year.